This we will understand about consumer price index. It is also known as a cost of living index or price of index. This index basically represents the increase in the price paid by the ultimate consumer for a specified basket of goods and services. Now we'll see what are those in that particular basket. So the goods included in the basket are food, clothing, house rent, fuel and lighting, and other miscellaneous expenditure. Why we need a consumer price index? General index numbers actually fail to give an exact idea about how change in the level of prices affects different classes of people in different manner. Number one, that is the number one reason. And then different classes of people also living in different areas consume different types of commodities, that too in different proportions. So in consumer price index, you try to identify the area, I try to identify the class, try to identify the consumption separately, and then you try to construct. I mean, your data collection is according to that. So what are the uses of consumer price index? Number one, wages and salary increases are fixed by the government based on consumer price index. It is used to measure changing purchasing power of money. And it also uses to measure inflation and real income. Government used CPI for price policy, rent control, and other general economic policies, including taxation. What are the different methods of constructing CPI? Number one, it is aggregate expenditure method. So under this method, the CPI is calculated as summation P1 Q naught divided by summation P naught Q naught, whole thing multiplied by 100. We may notice that this is actually Laspeyres index, exactly the same formula. The next one is family budget method. In this, we calculate it as summation of capital P into V divided by summation of V, where this P1 is the current year price of a commodity, P0 is the base year price of the same commodity, and Q0 is base year quantity of the same commodity. And capital P is basically the price relative of each commodity, which is calculated individually for each commodity as current price minus base year's price multiplied by 100 for each commodity. And capital V is nothing but P0 into Q0. Now let us understand how do we construct CPI using a numerical example. Construct the CPI for the year 2021 based on 2020 from the following data. So this is the data. There are A to F commodities are there, and the base year's quantity is given here, and the base year's price as well as current year's price is also given. Now to construct the CPI in both the methods, we will create a table wherein we will call this quantity in base year as P0, Q0, and quantity, price in the base year as P0 and price in the current year as P1. Then whatever relevant figures we require, will be creating those columns separately like this, Q0, P0 and P1, and then we need P1 into Q0. We also need P0 into Q0, which is nothing but capital V. We also need price relative, which is capital P, and that is calculated as P1 divided by P0, means in the first case it is 6 divided by 5.75 into 100. In the second case it is 8 by 5 into 100, like that. You calculate P, and then capital P into capital V, we calculate this, multiplied by this, you calculate. Now for aggregate expenditure method, we simply use summation of P1 Q0, which is 174. A summation of divided by summation of P0 into Q0, which is 146.5, the whole thing multiplied by 100. And for family budget method, we use summation of PV, which is 174.00 divided by summation of V, which is this 146.5. So we'll see that in the next slide. So aggregative expenditure method, very similar to Laspeyres index. We substitute the values and we get the CPI as 118.77. Then CPI under FBM, that is family budget method, is summation PV by summation V. We simply substitute those values which we obtained in the previous table, 17,400 divided by 146.5, which we get the same value, 118.77. So it's very clear that whether we use aggregate expenditure method or family budget method, the result we should get the same result only.